My prenatal checkup report had been spotted by my mortal enemy. Truth or dare, she pounced on purpose. Dylan, you're not pregnant, are you? I picked dare. I clenched my teeth. Enemy, then call baby daddy. Damn. The next second the boss's phone rang. One lately I'd felt off, but I couldn't pin down why. I swung by Eastbrook for a full workup and walked out stunned. I was pregnant. As I reeled, my nemesis sashayed past, shrieking, Dylan, you got knocked up before marriage. I slapped a hand over her mouth. Cut the crap, this is my bestie's exam report. In a pinch you invent a friend. My secret marriage had to stay buried, tag unwed and expecting on top, and my reputation would be toast. Don't try to fool me. She wasn't buying it, so I bit back. Obsessed with my uterus, are we? Pregnant or not, it's none of your damn business. She shot me a death glare, stilettos clacking away. That evening came the company team build. I swapped my toast wine for Sprite. I'm under the weather, Sprite instead of liquor. The boss flicked me a cool, loaded glance. After the food someone suggested truth or dare. Round 1 landed on me. Taylor gloated. Dylan, you aren't pregnant, right? I ground out, dare, no way, you're milking a confession. Before I could gloat back she added, call the kid's father, then. Brutal. I slowly pulled out my phone. Coworkers gawked, wait, she really is? Since when does little Sterling have a boyfriend? Right then the boss's cell rang at the head of the table. I almost pitched my phone into the hot pot. Excuse me, call outside. He rose, brushing past me, gaze lingering a fraction too long. I waggled my handset. No baby daddy, new dare, French the next person who walks in, full minute. 7 or 8 coworkers had slipped out, nobody knew who'd return. The table hooped and stared at the door. My pulse hammered, this was huge. Refuse and I'd chug 3-inch bomb shots, mixed booze that floors me in one. Taylor folded her arms, smirking. Or just phone him, save your husband a coronary. The door opened. Asher stepped back in, and silence crashed over the room. Eyes ping-ponged between him and me. Problem? He asked, sensing the freeze. Dylan's dare, kiss whoever enters, 1 minute. He halted beside my chair, calm as ever. Fine, let's go. Gasps all around. She could drink instead, someone whispered, everyone knows the boss is the company devil, kiss him and tomorrow you're fired for breathing wrong. I curved my lips, coolly meeting his eyes. Asher stood rock still. I hooked 2 fingers into his silk tie and leaned up. Taylor lunged, slapping my shoulder. Seriously, Dylan? You'd jump the boss? She shoved me, Asher's brows snapped together. Wasn't it your dare? I snapped. She sniffed. I said call baby daddy. Pregnant and throwing yourself at a man, disgusting. She pivoted to Asher, simpering, CEO, she's using you as her side guy, right? Asher flicked her a glacial glance. You're that certain she's pregnant, or you think I'd fool around with another man's wife? Was I born stupid, or did you grow an extra mouth? He added. The room iced over. I hid a grin behind my hand. Taylor stammered apologies. Sorry, boss, never meant I'd never imply you'd, I'm only protecting your honor. Asher turned to me, then back to her. Apologize to Dylan. She's single, you just branded her unwed mother. That's slander. Sterling doesn't keep people who traffic in rumors. Reconsider your position if you can't own your mistake. Taylor's face strained. Chewing her lip, she forced out, Dylan, I'm sorry. No evidence, I shouldn't have said it. Won't happen again, please forgive me. I let her squirm a moment, then shrugged. She shot me a vengeful glare, and the farce ended. 3 for the rest of the night. Taylor kept her claws sheathed. After cleanup I sneaked into Asher's car and rode home with him. In the great room he sliced navel oranges. You're pregnant? I nodded. Kept retching, skipped out this morning 2 months along. His knife stilled. Dark eyes smoldered, excitement barely leashed. Why didn't you tell me right away? Wanted it to be a surprise. I smirked. He exhaled, the corner of his mouth lifting. It's working. I'm really happy. I burst out laughing. 10 years together, one in secret marriage. I can read him. Asher, stone-cold king of composure, is probably setting off fireworks inside. I tugged him down and pecked him. He folded me close, palm settling on my still flat belly. Next prenatal checkup I'm there. Anything you crave, anything you feel, tell me. I curled against his chest, toying with his fingers. Nah, I can handle the visit. His face darkened. No. You refuse to go public. At work I can barely look after you. The doctor visit's non-negotiable. I tilted my head, eyeing that unfairly perfect face. But you're swamped. I feel guilty stealing your downtime. Asher lowered his head and brushed a soft kiss to my forehead. His gaze was serious. No matter how busy I am, I can always make time for a prenatal checkup. Besides, you're the one doing all the hard work carrying our baby. It kills me that you're going through this alone. His words gentled my eyes without my noticing. A slow warmth spread from my heart to every corner of my body. I squeezed his hand and pressed it to my cheek, unable to stop myself from coaxing, okay, I'll listen to you. But you have to promise you'll take care of yourself, or I won't be able to relax and help you through the pregnancy. Asher bent and left a tender kiss on my lips. I promise, he said gravely. For that night before sleep, Asher massaged my shoulders. Out of nowhere he asked, that Taylor, should I just fire her? I blinked, finally realizing he meant the way she'd cornered me earlier. I gave an unconcerned snort. No need. The world's full of people like her. Fire one and the next pops up. Ignoring her is enough. Asher gave a soft and didn't push. He merely said, your call. If she ever crosses the line, tell me and I'll handle it. I tilted my head, half laughing as I looked at him. You think I need you to take down someone like her? Don't you trust your wife? The corners of his eyes crimped in the faintest smile. His voice dropped. Of course I trust you, but throw me a bone once in a while. I chuckled low in my throat and didn't answer. Actually, keeping our marriage secret had been my idea. Asher's personality is the kind where, once he decides to marry, he's ready to shout it from the rooftops and couldn't care less what anyone thinks. But I'm different. Sterling is his family's empire, I'm just a girl from a paycheck-to-paycheck household. He started shadowing his father at 18 and slid straight into the CEO seat after college. I began as an intern, climbing rung by rung from the bottom of the design ladder, and I refused to let anyone claim I got here by sleeping with the boss. Crazy as it sounds that Asher and I even met, fell in love, married, and made a baby, I cling to one bit of pride. When we finally go public, I want people to say we're perfect for each other, not that I won the lottery. I've never spelled out those thoughts for him, yet I know he senses them. He always respects my wishes, one of the million things that move me about him. We dropped the Taylor subject. Asher held me while we drifted off. The next morning at Sterling, Taylor predictably came hunting. I'd barely parked myself at my desk when she appeared, arms folded, blocking my view. Her smile was all venom. Dylan, how's riding the Golden Branch? No wonder the CEO jumped to your defense last night. You sold yourself well. I blinked, honestly lost. Sorry, was that supposed to be human speech? I didn't catch a word. Taylor snickered, leaning over to slap her palms on my desk. Stop pretending. I saw you leave with the boss last night. Fun climbing into his bed? Proud he drove you home? Think it'll last? Ever hear of self-respect, Dylan? I stared at her tirade, speechless. No matter how I racked my brain, I couldn't figure out where she'd spotted us. We'd been so careful. The whole thing felt like being outmaneuvered by paparazzi, and the thought prickled. I snapped, yep, proud as hell. Jealous? Why not ask the boss to give you a ride too? I expected her to fling insults back, but Taylor never meets expectations. You think he wouldn't drive me? Me. I gave her a polite once-over. Pretty sure he wouldn't. Taylor's face blackened. She slammed the desk. How dare you, Dylan? Where am I lacking looks, talent? Why would he pick you over me? The shock on my face was real, she was dead serious. Wait, weren't you just preaching about dignity? Now you want the same bed-climbing ticket? Can't you just trounce me with dazzling performance metrics? Words failed me. Before I could recover, Asher strolled into our division. Taylor shot me a triumphant glare and hissed, "Watch me, Dylan. Once I have the boss, your days are numbered." Me, suit yourself. I watched, dead-eyed, as she marched off like a soldier to execution. She flicked her hair, tugged her blouse lower, and swayed toward Asher. I heard her syrupy voice, "CEO, my car died. Could you give me a lift?" Asher's brows snapped together. No. Tonight I'm attending a business gala with Dylan. Ask someone else. He paused. Actually, even if I were free, I don't give rides to people who can't dress properly. Taylor, I snorted, laughter bubbling out. Taylor's face flashed scarlet, then black, then scarlet again. She spun on me. Dylan, you planned this. I lifted a brow, smile unreadable. She snarled, "Just wait." And stalked off. I shrugged, empty threats bore me. Asher stepped to my side. Evening gala? I teased. Funny, I hadn't been informed. I'll cook you one at home, he said with a straight face, and I cracked up. We exchanged a few quick work lines, then slipped back into our pretend stranger routine before anyone noticed. At noon, Hayes the doctor who'd confirmed my pregnancy called to schedule a prenatal checkup. With my urgent tasks wrapped, I headed out to request leave only to run smack into Taylor. She barred my path. We're swamped. Your absence holds the whole team hostage. I smirked. Unlike you, I finish before I leave. Out of your jurisdiction. Taylor refused to budge. Say you're done and we're supposed to believe it? If your delay sinks the division, we all suffer. I veto your leave. I actually laughed. Taylor, you're neither supervisor nor president. Your veto is worthless. My voice iced over. Move. She planted herself like a statue. Fed up, I pulled out my phone to call my supervisor when Asher appeared behind us. His cool voice cut through. What's with the staring contest on company time? Taylor lit up, rushing to tattle. CEO, we're so busy we can't catch our breath, and Dylan demands leave. Keeping a slacker poisons morale. Think of the damage. I rolled my eyes at her talent for reversal. Asher looked at me. Why do you need leave? I was still irritated. Doctor visit. His gaze sharpened with instant worry. He cleared his throat and cut straight to the chase. Leave is approved. Go straight there, I'll talk to your supervisor. CEO. Taylor looked like she couldn't believe it, still trying to block me. I didn't even bother glancing at her. I nodded a thank you to Asher, packed up, and left Sterling. 7 The moment I stepped outside, Asher called and told me to come to the basement garage. He was already there, holding the rear door open when he saw me approach. I slid in. You're skipping work? Asher slid behind the wheel, started the engine, and answered casually, not urgent. Prenatal checkup first. I was touched, I smiled and didn't refuse. Asher came with me to Eastbrook for the prenatal checkup. He was jumpier than the actual pregnant woman, peppering the doctor with questions. Eventually his over-attentiveness had me half laughing, half exasperated. He still looked ready to ask more, so I quickly tugged him back and apologized to the doctor. Sorry, he's a little excited. If he starts asking whether yellow or red stimulates fetal brain development more, just ignore him. Asher pressed his lips together, face deadly serious, as if the question truly mattered. The doctor chuckled. No problem. Dads this anxious about both baby and mom are rare. You've got a good husband, miss. I didn't argue the point. After the appointment we thanked the doctor, and Asher drove me straight home. On the way I heard him tell Miles to send his work to the house, and I tried to persuade him to go to the office instead. Asher refused with a straight face. If the work can be done at home, why should I let you sit alone in an empty house? He sounded so earnest I couldn't find a rebuttal. I shook my head with a laugh. I had to admit I enjoyed his unapologetic favoritism. Back home, Asher cooked dinner. I noticed the change at once. I used to like bold flavors, and his cooking had always matched. Lately, though, the nausea meant I turned queasy at anything heavy, so tonight every dish leaned sweet and sour, still flavorful, but nothing greasy enough to trigger morning sickness. He'd been swamped, so a housekeeper had handled the meals. I hadn't expected him to pick up on the shift so fast. Then again, thinking of the third degree he'd given the doctor, it made perfect sense. I ate comfortably, nothing threatening to come back up. Still, afterward Asher lined up pickled plums to stave off nausea. Since getting pregnant I'd definitely craved sour things, so I happily munched while scrolling my phone for design inspiration. That day Asher worked from home while I sketched beside him. Thanks to that, the afternoon I'd taken off for prenatal checks didn't hurt my numbers. I even exceeded quota. Next morning I walked into the office and, sure enough, Taylor came looking for trouble. Clearly Sterling wasn't giving her enough tasks, she had idle hours to burn. She opened with the usual, "Dylan, keep away from the CEO. He's out of your league." I truly didn't get her obsession with Asher. "Exactly how do you see me craving him, and what makes you think you have the right to police me?" Taylor scoffed and leaned in. "The CEO may have bailed you out the other day, but that pregnancy is real, isn't it? No idea how you're hiding it from him, but when he realizes he's footing the bill for some other man's wife and kid, how do you think he'll react?" My guess, he'd cry happy tears. I thought, Asher is thrilled to look after his wife and child, thank you very much. Before I could drop a hint, she changed tone, smug and bright. "Unlike you, I'm actually single and clean. The CEO will see my worth sooner or later." Instinct said she was plotting again. I frowned. "Don't dig your own grave." Taylor gave a contemptuous snort, radiating confidence. "Just wait till I find my chance to steal Asher." I exhaled in defeat. Overconfidence really is a disease. I couldn't be bothered wasting breath. Once someone buys their own fantasy, persuasion is pointless. Taylor had gone full cult mode. I'd just kick back and watch her self-destruct. Sure enough, over the following days she pounced on every chance to hover around Asher. Several times he tried to throw her out and I stopped him, because I'd noticed something odd beyond her usual harassment. I couldn't tell if I was hypersensitive, but to be safe, Asher and I agreed to keep her around a little longer. This month Asher had a non-negotiable business trip right before my checkup. He'd tried reshuffling the schedule for weeks, but the counterparty wouldn't budge, so he absolutely couldn't accompany me. I didn't mind, yet Asher looked dejected though his face stayed expressionless as ever. He just clung more. While I worked on my project he insisted on sitting beside me. I finally shoved him out of the home office. "Boss, please stop supervising me. I swear I'll deliver quality on time." Asher lingered at the door. I could help see if anything needs tweaks. The capitalist dread flooded my veins. I slammed the door in his face. The next day, before heading to the airport, he kissed me for an hour. I went limp, sagging on the couch as I waved him off. For the appointment he arranged George to drive me. George had watched Asher grow up, to him we were basically his kids, so I felt totally relaxed. I never thought such a small thing would end up photographed by Taylor. By the time I realized, Sterling was buzzing with the rumor that I was pregnant and being kept by some old sugar daddy. I saw red. I marched into the design division with hard evidence and flung the printouts in Taylor's face in front of everyone. "Taylor, slander is a crime. Either publicly retract and apologize, or we meet in court." Taylor stayed unruffled, lips curling in disdain. "Slander? Everything I said is fact. What slander? Even if we go to court I'm not scared." Aren't you pregnant? Didn't you climb into that man's car? Dylan, if you're brave enough to do it, don't whine when people laugh. Huh. I laughed in anger. Just as I was about to explain, Miles appeared and asked the design team to convene in the conference room. On the way I quietly asked him what was going on. Miles is one of the few who knows Asher and I are married. He whispered, the earlier project someone inside Sterling leaked data, and the partner is furious. My stomach sank, the bad premonition finally had a thread to pull. It's the flawed proposal I drafted? Miles nodded, grave. I understood. My gaze locked on Taylor's back ahead of me, eyes dark. 10 inside the conference room. Asher and the partner's CEO were talking. They stopped when we entered. After a brief introduction we took our seats, and then I learned the full story. The final cut of the project we delivered contained wrong specs and design drawings. The other party had already broken ground using that data, and the loss was huge. Now they were demanding compensation. After they finished, Asher asked the design division to explain. I was the lead on the project, yet before I could speak Taylor shot to her feet. She pointed at me and said, CEO, this project was handled by Dylan. The drawings and the proposal are hers, so any problems are her fault. Every eye in the room snapped to me. I met Asher's gaze, he gave me the faintest nod. I calmed myself and stood up steadily. I was in charge of the project. May I see the proposal you received? The client's supervisor nodded and flashed the document onto the projector screen. One glance told me it was the faulty version I had purposely left on my computer while Taylor was in the office. I'd sensed she was off and worried she might pull something big, so especially at work I always kept a card or two up my sleeve. This wrong proposal was one of them, though I had others. At the time I wasn't sure whether she was targeting only me or the entire company. I could live with the former, but if she was after Asher's firm I wouldn't allow it. This trap was meant to expose a possible mole. I hadn't expected that, to bring me down, she would actually sell company secrets. I stared at the screen, then said in a low voice, this did come from our side, but I have 2 questions. I looked past their supervisor straight at their CEO. Asher cooperatively turned the same way. Their boss had to give Asher face, so he nodded. Supervisor, go ahead. I smiled politely, then locked eyes with their supervisor. First, when exactly did you receive this proposal? He looked puzzled, so I added, yes, it's ours but it's a draft version. The deadline hasn't even arrived, so how did you get what you call the final and start construction? Their CEO froze and swiveled toward the supervisor, who paled and began to stammer. Before he could finish I pressed on. Second, through which channel did you receive it? I opened Sterling's shared cloud mail in front of everyone. The log showed I had sent the correct file the night before, on schedule, clearly labeled Final Cut. I don't understand why you didn't work from this one, I said, letting a cold smile mimic Asher's usual chill. Their CEO finally realized something was off and demanded an explanation. The supervisor cracked and admitted the file had come from Taylor. She had seen the erroneous draft on my laptop, assumed it was the final, and rushed to contact their company, hoping to claim credit once the deal closed. Their supervisor, equally greedy, thought finishing early would give him leverage to bargain down the price and pocket the savings. 2 fools colluding, each believing the arrangement mutually beneficial, never seeing how it tarnished both firms. Only after losses mounted had he tried to shift blame to Sterling. Thanks to Taylor's daily harassment I had paid extra attention to her. Without the trap Asher and I had set, we would have swallowed the loss in silence. Had she handed them the correct file and their ploy succeeded, the financial hit would have been severe. Now, with hard evidence on the table and both culprits confessing, Asher and their CEO fired the schemers on the spot. Taylor bit her lip, visibly defiant. Knowing she was done, she went for broke. CEO, I respected your integrity, but today you've disappointed me. She jabbed a finger at me, voice venomous. I don't know what improper relationship you have with her, but favoring Dylan like this, aren't you afraid the whole company will gossip? Asher regarded her without expression. Taylor grew bolder. Even if I was wrong, does Dylan's word automatically make it true? You didn't even check, you just sided with her. Don't the rest of us feel cold watching that? She looked around the design division for support, but most stayed silent. No one wanted to lose their job. I watched her face twist in rage, classic death row bravado. When no one spoke, Taylor, cheeks burning, yanked out her phone and slapped a photo on the table. I recognized the shot she'd used to circulate the sugar daddy rumor, George driving me to my prenatal checkup. My expression darkened. She announced loudly, CEO, look, Dylan really is pregnant, and the baby daddy is this old man. Don't be the last to know you're the fallback guy. She even threw the image onto the still-lit screen. The conference room erupted, even the partner team gobbled up the drama. I had been halfway through destroying her lies, and now she walked straight into my crosshairs. I was about to speak when two sharp knocks rang out. Instantly the room fell silent, every head turned. Asher tapped the table again, forehead propped on one hand, gaze glacially fixed on Taylor. I know she's pregnant, so what? Taylor gaped. You know, and you'd rather wear second-hand shoes? Asher slammed the table and rose, menace rolling off him in waves. Let me clarify 2 points. First, I watched Dylan craft that proposal at her desk. Its accuracy is beyond question. Second, yes, she's pregnant, and yes, I know the old man who drove her to the clinic because that was George. The baby is mine. We're legally married. Which part of that violates ethics or the law? His icy stare swept the room. Following it, I saw jaws drop everywhere, Taylor's face the color of ash. She stammered. Asher's voice cut like winter steel. We're husband and wife. The marriage certificate will be posted company-wide within the hour. Every piece of slander and gossip you've aimed at my wife these past days has been traced, he said. Anything that crosses the legal line will land a certified letter from our attorneys, the rest I'll settle one by one. He looked at me, I lifted a shoulder and told him to go ahead. A secret marriage can't stay secret forever, so we might as well let every cheap rumormonger get exactly what they deserve. 13 In the end, Taylor was carried out. She was so terrified her legs wouldn't hold her, and the way she stared at me was pure panic. I let out a cold laugh. I have zero pity for people who bully the weak and cower before the strong. My design division co-workers looked shell-shocked, as if their souls had walked off the job. After the meeting, Asher repeated what he'd just said, this time in the company-wide WhatsApp group, then attached a photo of our marriage certificate. The entire building blew up. To dodge the fallout, I took a few days off and stayed home. Asher stayed downtown to clean house. That night when he walked in, I draped myself over him and pretended to scold. Weren't you on a business trip? You didn't even call. Do you not want to see me? He hooked an arm around my waist, dropped tiny kisses on the crown of my head. How could I not want you? I'd glue myself to you 24 hours a day. A single day without you would kill me. He tipped my chin up and kissed me, claiming my mouth like territory. I let him storm the fortress. Only after a long while did he let me go. I flew in a couple of hours ago for a new city project, he explained. I planned to surprise you, then this mess exploded. He looked honestly frustrated. I collapsed against him, laughing. He exhaled. I don't keep an eye on the big chat. If I'd known you were taking this kind of crap, I would have blasted our marriage across every screen in Sterling months ago. I could tell he was truly furious, rare for him. I've seen him genuinely angry maybe twice in all the years we've known each other, so I pinched his chin and studied the novelty. He laughed in spite of himself. Enough. I'll handle the garbage. Do you want to keep working or start maternity leave now? Keep working, obviously. I didn't hesitate. I fought this project inch by inch, hand it over now. What kind of husband sides with the competition? I swatted him playfully, the smile reached his eyes. He laid me back on the bed, careful because of the baby, and kissed me like a starving man. When I teased him to the brink, I shooed him into the shower, laughing while he groaned. 14 I marched back into the office. People were stunned, but the whispers stopped cold. Taylor's sabotage had almost derailed our campaign, yet the deal stayed on track. It's a major account big enough that Asher personally negotiated the contract and fast-tracked the purge of everyone who'd spread the rumors. As project lead, I poured myself into the work. A few months later, the weight of late-term pregnancy started to wear me down. Asher never said quit, he just took over every life detail, even putting on my socks. More than once I almost caved and went home, but the campaign was so close to the finish line I couldn't stomach walking away, especially now that the entire company knew I was the wife. Every eye in Sterling was on me, waiting to see if I'd earned my seat or simply married it. When Asher and I first got together, I felt dwarfed by him: pedigree, brain, the whole package. We'd overlapped in grade school, met again in college, and he chased me like a man possessed. I never figured out what he saw, but I fell scared, insecure, and head over heels. That fear drove me to grind non-stop, trying to deserve him. He never pushed, never belittled my hustle, he just let me run. The gap between us isn't bridgeable overnight, yet I keep laying planks because I love him, and because the Sterling working inside Sterling damn well will not embarrass her husband. Each time I thought of quitting, pride slapped the thought away. I told myself one more week, one more day until the project closed flawlessly and my due date calendar read tomorrow. I finally exhaled, went home, and hibernated. Asher massaged my back and legs, kissing me softly. Wife, you were incredible. I was hammered through late-stage pregnancy and brutal hours. I felt forged from iron. Yet inside I blazed with satisfaction. I rolled toward him, looped an arm around his neck, pressed my face to his jaw. Asher, I like you so much it hurts. He laughed low, lowered his mouth, poured every ounce of tenderness into the kiss. I love you, wife. 15. My water broke at midnight. Asher flew into controlled panic. I'd never seen the CEO of Sterling helpless. He hovered beside the bed like a kid lost in a department store. Between contractions I watched him and wanted to giggle. Labor moved fast. I got my epidural, then delivered a healthy baby girl. Asher stayed for every second. The moment she arrived, he didn't even glance at her. He dropped to his knees beside me, asking if I was okay, ordering me to rest. I teased him to at least acknowledge his daughter. Instead he looked at me, and tears slid down his face. I nearly jackknifed off the pillow. Shock of the century, Asher crying. Even crying he looked cool, expressionless, classic beauty in tears, the kind poets write about. I meant to comfort him, ended up admiring the artwork. He pressed his forehead to mine, voice shaking. Wife, you've done enough. I'll take care of you and our daughter forever. I'm never putting you through this again. My heart melted, my mouth, however, chirped, could you keep crying a bit longer? It's ridiculously pretty. Asher, I giggled until my stitches protested. He sighed but let me have my fun. When I finally stopped, I reached for him. He bent, I fisted his collar and bit his lip soft, happy, possessive. Deal. You'll care for us, love us, never leave. He locked eyes with me, solemn as a vow. I will love you both forever, but I will never leave you, period. He threaded our fingers, squeezed. Wife, you are the center of my universe. No one replaces you. I swear you'll spend the rest of your life happy. Asher keeps every promise he makes. I believe him, because I love him. We smile at each other, no more words needed, and my future stretches ahead, bright and certain. Thank you for listening to our story. If you enjoyed it, hit like and share with friends. Drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more. See you next episode.